What if your dog was silently battling an illness and you had no idea? Think about it. They can't say, hey, something feels off. No words, just subtle changes. A slower tail wag, skipping a meal, a different look in their eyes. It's easy to miss until it's too late. But what if I told you that you could catch warning signs early, right at home, with just 5 simple checks? No fancy equipment, no vet degree, just you a few minutes and a little know-how. Today, we're going to walk through the 5 at-home health checks every dog owner should know. And trust me, one of them might just save your dog's life. Section 1. Why this matters. Before we jump into the 5 checks, let's talk about why this is so important. Not just for peace of mind, but for your dog's actual health and quality of life. A 2022 study from the Journal of Veterinary Internal Medicine found that up to 60% of pet illnesses go undiagnosed until they're already advanced. 60%. That's more than half. Why? Because we miss the signs. Not because we're bad pet parents, but because dogs are wired to hide pain. It's in their DNA. Back in the wild, any sign of weakness made them a target. That instinct hasn't gone away. So what do they do today? They keep playing. They still come when you call. They wag their tails, all while something might be quietly brewing inside them. And let's be honest, life gets busy. We might notice that our pup seems a little off. Maybe not eating as much or sleeping more, but we brush it off. Maybe he's just tired, we tell ourselves. But those small shifts, they could be the early signs of something serious. Veterinarians agree. Early detection saves lives. Whether it's a hidden infection, a tumor, kidney issues, or even dental disease. Catching it early often means simpler treatment, lower costs, and better outcomes. So if you've ever looked at your dog and thought, I wish they could tell me how they feel, this is the next best thing. These 5 checks are simple, quick, and something anyone can do at home. And honestly, they could be the most important thing you do for your dog this week. Ready? Let's get into it. Section 2. Check number 1, gum color and hydration. All right, first up, let's talk about your dog's gums. Yep, you heard me right, the gums. It's easy to focus on their fur, their energy levels, or their appetite, but the gums? They're a window into your dog's health that most people overlook. What should you do? It's simple. Gently lift your dog's lip and take a look at the color of their gums. Healthy gums are usually a nice bubblegum pink. It's the color we all associate with good health. But if they're pale, white, blue, or even bright red, that's a red flag. Let me break it down for you. Pale gums? That could mean anemia or even internal bleeding. If their blood is low in red blood cells, the gums won't have that healthy pink hue. Blue or purple gums? That's a serious one. It often points to a lack of oxygen in their system, which could be from respiratory issues or even heart problems. Bright red gums? Watch out. That's a potential sign of heat stroke or a severe infection like sepsis. And here's an extra bonus check for you. The capillary refill time. Press your finger gently on their gums until they turn white, then release. How long does it take for the color to return to pink? It should be less than 2 seconds. If it takes longer than that, it could indicate that your dog is in shock or has circulation issues. Time to get to the vet. Now, here's something else you can check while you're at it. Hydration. It's easy to overlook, but hydration is crucial. You can check this by pinching the skin between their shoulder blades. If it springs back instantly, your dog's hydration is on point. But if it tints, it stays pinched for a bit before it goes back to normal, that's a sign they might be dehydrated, and that can lead to some serious issues if it's not addressed. Let me share a real-life story to show you just how important this is. Carla from Oregon, one of our viewers, noticed that her beagle's gums suddenly turned white. At first, she thought maybe he had just been stressed or was feeling under the weather. But after watching one of our videos, she decided to take action and rushed him to the vet. Turned out, he had internal bleeding caused by a ruptured spleen. If Carla hadn't caught it early, things might have gone south quickly. But because she was paying attention, her quick action saved his life. Now, here's a question for you. Have you ever checked your dog's gums before? Go ahead and drop a comment below. Let me know what you found or if you're going to check them after watching this. It can make a huge difference in their health. Section 3. Check number 2, temperature and pulse. All right, moving on to check number 2, temperature and pulse. Now, I know what you're thinking. Taking my dog's temperature? That sounds tricky, but trust me, you can totally do this at home, and it's easier than you might think. First, let's talk about temperature. Just like with humans, a dog's body temperature is a key indicator of their health. So what's normal? Normal dog temperature falls between 101 degrees Fahrenheit and 102.5 degrees Fahrenheit, 38.3 to 39.2 degrees Celsius. If it climbs above 103 degrees Fahrenheit, that's a fever. If it drops below 99 degrees Fahrenheit, that's hypothermia, which is also very dangerous. So how do you check it? You'll need a digital rectal thermometer. It's the most accurate way to measure a dog's temperature. I know it's not the most glamorous task, but trust me, it's worth it. Here's how to do it. 1. Lubricate the thermometer with a bit of petroleum jelly or another safe lubricant. 2. Gently insert the thermometer about an inch into their rectum. 3. Wait for the beep. It usually only takes a few seconds. Now, your dog probably won't love this, but it's a quick check that can give you crucial information. If you're worried about it, you can always try to get them used to the thermometer by doing it in short sessions, with lots of praise and treats afterward. Next up, heart rate. Your dog's heart rate is another important indicator of their health. You can figure out if there's an issue just by checking their pulse. For small dogs, the normal heart rate is 100 to 140 beats per minute, BPM. For medium to large dogs, it's usually 60 to 100 BPM. So, how do you find a pulse? It's easier than you think. Place your fingers, not your thumb, on the inside of their upper thigh. You'll feel a pulse in the femoral artery. Count the beats for 15 seconds and then multiply by 4 to get the number of beats per minute. What should you be looking for when checking their pulse? If it's too fast or too slow, that could indicate an issue. If you feel irregular beats, that's another red flag. And if you notice a fever paired with a fast heart rate, it's possible your dog has an infection or some type of inflammation. It's all about knowing what's normal for your dog and recognizing when something's off. If you've never taken your dog's pulse or temperature before, would you give it a try now? I know it can seem intimidating, but once you get the hang of it, it's a super useful check. What's your biggest concern about doing it at home? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Section 4. Check number 3. Eyes, ears, and nose. All right, let's move on to the face. Eyes, ears, and nose. These 3 features can tell you a lot about your dog's health, and catching small changes early can make a huge difference. Let's start with the eyes. Your dog's eyes should be clear, bright, and moist, just like a good pair of human eyes, right? If you notice anything off, it's time to pay attention. Redness could indicate an irritation, infection, or even allergies. Excessive tearing can sometimes mean a blocked tear duct or another issue. Cloudiness, especially in older dogs, could be a sign of cataracts or other eye diseases. Yellow discharge could point to conjunctivitis, that's an eye infection, or it could signal another type of infection. Next, let's talk about those ears. The first thing you should do is gently sniff them. Does it smell a little yeasty? That's actually pretty normal, especially if your dog has floppy ears. But if you notice something more concerning like a foul, rotten smell combined with redness or gunk in the ears, those are all signs of a potential ear infection. In fact, according to the American Kennel Club, ear infections are one of the top 3 most common health issues for dogs. If you catch an ear infection early, it can be treated easily, but left unchecked, it can become a much more serious problem. Finally, let's check out the nose. You might think a wet nose means a healthy dog, but that's not always the case. Clear discharge? That's usually okay. It's a sign of your dog's nose doing its job. Yellow or green discharge? That's not good. It could indicate an infection or sinus problems. Constant sneezing fits or your dog obsessively licking their nose could be signs of allergies or even mites. In rare cases, it could be something more serious like nasal tumors. Now, here's your challenge. Pause the video right now. Go check your dog's eyes, ears, and nose and see if anything seems off. Did you notice something? Drop a comment below and let us know what you found. Let's all learn together as a community. Section 5. Check number 4. Behavior and mobility. Let's move on to something that's easy to overlook, behavior and mobility. Changes in how your dog acts or moves can be some of the first signs that something's wrong. You might think it's just your dog getting older or maybe a phase they're going through, but subtle shifts can tell you a lot. Here are some red flags to keep an eye on. Limping or favoring one leg. Stiffness when getting up from a nap or after sitting for a while. Hesitation when jumping onto the couch, bed, or car. Increased sleeping, more than usual. Growling or whining when touched, especially in areas like their hips or back. These might seem small at first, but they can indicate pain or discomfort. Here's a story time to make this real. Do you remember Max, the Labrador from episode 6? His owners noticed he was slowing down, but they chalked it up to old age. He wasn't running as much, and he seemed to be sleeping more. They didn't think anything of it until one day, Max started whining when they touched his hips. After taking him to the vet, they learned Max was dealing with early onset arthritis and hip dysplasia, 2 conditions that had been causing him pain for months. His body was slowly deteriorating, but he'd been hiding it as best he could. Science backs this up too. A 2020 study from the University of Pennsylvania found that behavioral changes were often the first signs of chronic illness or pain in 78% of the dogs studied. In fact, subtle signs like your dog refusing to fetch or suddenly being less energetic can indicate something more serious happening inside. So, the next time your active pup isn't running around or seems to be struggling with a movement, take note. Pain isn't always obvious, but their behavior will speak volumes. Sectional 6. Check number 5. Stool and urine. Okay, it's time to talk about the grossest check of them all, but it's critical. We're talking about your dog's stool and urine. It's not the most glamorous, but trust me, it's one of the most important indicators of your dog's health. Let's start with stool. Healthy poop should be chocolate brown in color, firm and log-shaped, easy to pick up. So what's a warning sign? Keep an eye out for black, tarry stool. This could mean there's internal bleeding in the digestive tract. Diarrhea. It's often a sign of infection, parasites, or food intolerance. Mucus in stool. This could be a sign of inflammation or colitis, which is inflammation of the colon. White specks. This is likely tapeworms, which are parasites that often come from fleas. Moving on to urine. A healthy dog's pee should be pale yellow. If you notice any of these changes, it could mean something's off. Dark yellow. This could indicate your dog is dehydrated. Reddish tint. This is usually a sign of blood in the urine, which is concerning. Cloudy urine. This could point to a urinary tract infection, UTI, or other urinary issues. Pro tip. If you ever see bright red blood in your dog's stool or urine, don't hesitate. Get to a vet immediately. Blood is never something to take lightly, and it's often a sign of a serious issue that needs urgent attention. So now it's your turn. Engagement prompt. What's the weirdest thing you've ever noticed in your dog's poop or pee? Don't be shy. Drop it in the comments below. Sharing experiences might help another pet parent spot something unusual in their own dog's health. So let's quickly recap the 5 essential checks you can do to keep your dog healthy. 1. Gums and hydration. A simple look at their gums and hydration level could save their life. 2. Temperature and pulse. Knowing how to check their temp and heart rate can help you catch early signs of fever or infection. 3. Eyes, ears, and nose. A quick inspection can reveal eye issues, ear infections, or respiratory problems. 4. Behavior and mobility. Keep an eye on their behavior and movement because subtle changes could indicate pain or chronic illness. 5. Stool and urine. Checking their stool and urine for abnormalities is key in identifying digestive or urinary issues. These 5 checks only take under 10 minutes, and they give you invaluable insight into your dog's health. You don't need a veterinary degree to be a proactive pet parent. You just need awareness and the willingness to take action. Dogs give us unconditional love. They look to us for care, protection, and comfort. Let's make sure we're doing our part to protect them in return. So, next time you're spending time with your dog, remember these simple checks. A little time now can make a huge difference in their health. If you learned something today, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. Let me know if you're going to start doing these checks regularly, or if you've already spotted something you didn't know about your dog's health. And hey, if you're hungry for more pet care tips, be sure to check out our next video. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. See you next time.